Hello, everybody. Good evening. And we're rolling up on 8 o'clock. We'll just check to make sure things are working. See if we've got some sound. And I don't hear anything, so we'll just check this and see whether we've got sound here or not. And give me a thumbs up if you can hear sound. Can you hear me? Oh, I think we've got sound. Yeah, we're good. Good. All right. Let's see who's here. Fashion Forward Mum's always here, and she's here. She says the sound is good. Sonny Jones is with us, says they can hear the sound. Anthony Bora is with us, saying hi. Brain M is with us. Nacho Line, good. Nacho Line's here to raise the flag, get people to hit that like button. And Amanda Elliott is finally here from one at the very beginning. Good for you, Amanda.
I'm here and I'm cleaning the puppy mess.
Yes.
They probably get near me.
No, well, here you go. But we'll wait till you come over here. You got a puppy there, Tammy?
Yes, I'm cleaning up little bottoms. They poopied this morning, or a while ago.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about velvets and big ropes, and I think that might be of interest to people. We'll do that here in a little bit. You're gonna go work on
this one carries pink and fluffy carrier. Carries testable.
You're gonna bring us two puppies here in a little bit?
In a little bit.
Right. Gentle Giants is with us. Christine Giddings is with us. Gina Sanchez says hi. Anthony Bora, hi. James, hi. And Nacho Line says 17 people, 7 likes. Let's smash that like button for some free knowledge. There you go. See, we have to have Nacho Line here because I just don't pay attention to it. Fashion Forward Mum, my Shih Tzu had 7 babies, all doing good. Fashion Forward Mum, how many litters do you have a year? You are getting after it, girl. I think you've got Shih Tzus and something else. I'm not sure what the other thing is. Tell us what you've got. All right. Nacho Line's giving us a thumbs up. Thank you. And Nacho Line, we missed you. I think you had some emergency that concerned us. But I guess you're back to the land of the living, hopefully, and everything is good. So you may not want to tell us the details, and so we won't pry into that. So I'm going to talk just briefly about things that have been going on for me this last week. So Nacho Line says yes, amen. God is good. Good, excellent, good deal. Right, we're glad to have you back. So I had an interesting week with people trying to predict C-section timing. And here we go, Fashion Forward Mum, she has Frenches, Poms, Pekingese Yorkies. I'm not sure what a Biwa is and Shih Tzus. What's a B-I-E-W-E-R-S? Biwas? What is Biwas? Never heard of that breed. Tell us what that is. We don't know. I don't know. Anyway, it's been a week for people trying to get their timing right on C-sections. This is so important. So I'm actually going to do, I've got a number of videos out there, but it's, I've changed my attitude about this in the last couple of years, specifically about using progesterone as part of predicting whelp, for a couple of reasons. The first one is, and some of you may have experienced this, I experienced it a lot. You do a progesterone, the temperature's already dropped, you know that everything looks great. You've got a big litter of puppies, you know that you bred the dog properly, you bred twice. Since the dog is so full of puppies, you know you had to have got one of those 2 days correctly. You know the progesterone numbers when you did the breeding, so you know which date's more than likely. Her temperature drops, she's not eating food, and it's like, okay, we're off the races. We're having puppies within 24 hours. You go do a progesterone test, she's at 10, right? And then the next day you do a progesterone test, she's at a 7, and you know you need to have puppies that day, otherwise you get in trouble. I see this a lot, and I think there's a couple of things. First off, I'm not a big fan of, well, the problem with this is you cannot predict how soon a dog will go into whelp based on progesterone level. All it's good for is telling you it's a go, no go. Is that the...
He doesn't carry pink.
Yeah.
He's a big rope.
Yes. And the other one
that's short guy.
Yes. All right. Well, so what I want to see is probably the that versus the Velvet Girl. We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, that's the boy.
That is.
So, and the thing is, I just talked to somebody the other day, and they had a number that was a 7. And I said, well, I think you're probably really close here because of everything you've told me about all the other stuff, the timing, the progesterone level when you AI'd, how long ago you AI'd, the fact she's full of puppies, what her temperature is. And I said, I think, you'll probably survive the night, but you're almost certain need to get this geared up tomorrow. Does another PG test in the morning, and the PG number's gone up, gone higher. So this, the problem with this is the textbook says is that you do C-sections. Typically, most people say 3. Some people say 2. I say 3.5 on a fine care machine. I don't think a fine care is very accurate at the low end. I think it's much better at the high end. But the problem with this is that I get a lot of vets who just want to stick to this progesterone number, and they will tell somebody to come in like 6 days before whelp and get a progesterone test every day. And I think that's a complete waste of time and money and effort and potentially subjecting your dog to other sick dogs. I mean, I just flat don't do that. This last litter that we had, I didn't even do a PG test. I knew we were in the right place. And right. Okay, so let's have a look. So people are making comments about this. Let's see what people are saying. See if people agree with me or disagree with me. Oh. So Fash Forward says a Brewer, they're kind of like a Yorkie, and it's pronounced Brewers. Okay, well, there you go. So is that a crossbreed, is it? So Natural Line says, keep checking temperature for near 98 degrees, that best indication of time. I agree 100%, Natural Line. The best single thing that you can do is watch your dog and watch that temperature go down below 99.0. It might not get down to 98.0, but below 99 for me, 99.0 always, almost invariably means puppies are in 24 hours. And it means you're in a safe place. The trouble with it is you don't always see the temperature drop. So it's any of these single things by themselves, standing alone, are not reliable. It's really a whole picture. Temperatures drop below 99.0, not eating any food at all. And then if you see nesting and panting, and you've got a dog that is full of puppies, you're in a safe place. The problem gets to be, for instance, you let the dogs mate naturally, you don't know when they're hooked up, you've got yourself a problem. Doesn't mean that you're going to have a disaster on your hands, but it's much harder to predict it. And the other one, the big one, is a small litter. If you've got a small litter of puppies, it typically means that you didn't AI correctly, wrong dates. And so if you take your dates off that when you AI'd, you're whacked all the way through. So that's where it gets really sketchy. Small litters, 1 or 2 puppies, where you could absolutely get caught with your pants down. So, yeah. Anyway, I just want to bring that up because I thought that was interesting for this week. All right. My mum's, fast forward, my mum's always drink a lot of water and start licking themselves before birth. Yeah, so with your dogs, of course, fashion forward, your dogs go into labor. So, and I mean, for you, this is nowhere near as problematic as for those of us from C-sections. The problem with a C-section, we're going to artificially take the puppies by C-section. And so if you get your timing wrong and you take your puppies 2 or more days before when they should have naturally gone into whelp, you've got yourself a huge problem on your hands. And the problem is that those puppies' lungs have not developed surfactant. It's a uncrinkly chemical that basically when they're in the womb, they're connected to the mother through the placenta and they're not using their lungs at all. Their lungs are filled with amniotic fluid and their lungs are all crinkled up. And when you C-section, and the moment the cord is cut, they've lost their blood supply from mum. They've lost their oxygenation the moment their cord is cut. And their lungs have then got to get the water out, get the amniotic fluid out, and they have to inflate. And if they get stuck together because they don't have the surfactant, then those puppies typically don't die right there in the operating room. They start having problems 48 hours to 72 hours later, where they start short breathing, little short breaths, and don't survive. So it's a really you've got to get it right on a C-section. For those of you having natural whelps, it's not an issue. because you're going to let the dog go into labor anyway, and it's going to do it when it's ready. I mean, it's useful to be able to predict when it's going to happen, so you're around. But other than that, the fact that you want to be there for your dog, a lot of these dogs could take care of the whole thing by themselves. I mean, that's what evolution taught them to do. All right, and then, so Nightline says, yes, shivering, that's a good point, right? Shivering and panting. He mentions the mucus plug. For me, the mucus plug, you may or may not see it. You can see the mucus plug 10 days before labor, so I don't get worried about the mucus plug. Yeah, Gentle Giant says, yeah, my vet takes pups when the reverse PG is 3 nanograms or under. I've had dogs that have gone to labor with a PG level of 7. How'd it happen? That's the problem. So this is the problem. There's no single thing that guarantees it. Corey Niemeyer is with us. Hi, James and Tami. Hi to you. Okay, Anthony says, I did that, came at 98 temp, check temp morning and noon and night. Yes. Yeah, so one of the things here is you can miss that temperature drop too. So I think when you get close, you need to do it at least twice a day. Well, here we go. Fashion Ford says the Brewer is a Yorkie, but has a different gene that causes color changes. And you don't dog their tails. They're European versions of Yorkies. All right. Good Lord. A Yorkie should be a European dog anyway, because it comes from friggin' Yorkshire. This is in England. They've got to originate it there, surely. Anyway, interesting. So Fashful says, so could you wait until they are in labor, like heavy breathing, and go to the vet, or is that not enough time? Well, so the problem with this is, it's not really an issue, the issue with this is, if you have puppies, after 6 o'clock in the afternoon, your vet's office is closed. And so you can very likely get in the situation that the vet's not going to be there for you. You call the vet at 2 in the morning and nobody's answering the phone. That all depends on the relationship with your vet. Our vets, we'll let them know ahead of time what's going on, and they will answer the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning. They'll charge us another $100 for a C-section, which is, to me, is irrelevant. But somebody just said that emergency vets are high. They could be dramatically high. I mean, if you're in places like New York, you might have a C-section fee normally of $2,000, which is twice what we pay, and it might be $6,000 or $8,000 at an emergency hospital. And guess who's doing the surgery? It's the most junior person who's staffing that phone, who's manning that phone at night. He may have not done any C-sections ever before, and so I'm not a fan. And I'm also not a fan of racing around, trying to get to a vet in time because the dog's starting to go into labor. I mean, it can, again, the right way to do this is to let the vet know ahead of time what's going on and have a planned C-section when you're in a safe place. I mean, safe place meaning temperatures drop, not eating food, right number of days since AI, and then if you're not sure, PG level that's dropped below around 3 or less. All right. Anthony says, my dogs mated naturally, had 6 pups, 4 males, 2 girls. I looked at, she looked at those 2. I made sure I told the vet not to do it earlier by watching your channel. Okay. Well, look, you had a good result. So the only thing I'd say to you is that just be careful about PG levels alone. There's no single test, just like temperature or any of these things. Some dogs will eat food all the way up to when they're taken to the delivery room. Some dogs never show a temperature drop. Some dogs never nest. Some dogs never pant. Some dogs have a PG level that's above 3. That's the problem. There's no single thing that guarantees you're in the right place. And I think the most likely chance for error is a small litter, because I think in those situations, you typically don't see the really strong signals like low PG levels, shivering, temperature drops. They don't show themselves as well as they do in large litters, where you've got a lot of puppies in there and a lot of influence on mum to say it's time to have puppies. Nacho Line, can you breed a female dog that might have a UTI? Absolutely, you betcha. So the problem here is, there's a UTI is pretty much in the bladder and not, there is an opening obviously at the very end of the vaginal canal. So there is some chance to get some pathogens in there. But what I would do, if you have a dog that has a UTI, there's two things that I would do. The first one is, of course, I'd get the dog on antibiotics ahead of time to try to clear up the UTI. And the second thing is I would probably give a flush of a little bit of vinegar cider, not really a heavy flush, but a little bit of a flush, maybe 4 or 5 hours before I was going to do the AI. And I would just use a catheter that only went up about that far into the vaginal canal, not all the way up towards where the cervix is. Because if you look at the anatomy of a dog and you look at where the bladder connects to the outside world, it's only about an inch up in there. It's not very far up in there. So rather than flooding the whole vaginal canal with vinegar, which can kill sperm, just give a little bit and just try to kind of clean up that area. I mean, you could almost take a wipe on your finger and wipe up around there and just trying to clear up any pathogens that might be there. But I mean, no, the answer is yeah, I think you'd be fine with it. I mean, I say I think you might be fine with it. Remember, I'm not sure I've ever done this. So I don't know that I can, I don't know if I've got any anecdotal evidence that says it's okay. But you'd prefer they don't have a UTI. But I think you'd probably get away with it. Certainly dogs that have pyometria, which are a much more serious situation, that you treat an open pyometria after you've bred a dog, and I've had dogs that have had completely normal deliveries, completely normal pregnancies, with not just a UTI, but actually an infection in the uterus where the eggs are, and it's still been okay. Somebody asked a question back here that I skipped, so we'll go back to that. Just find that. Oh, here we go. Gina Sanchez says, what do you think would be the best sire to mate with a Merle Dame with tan points? So we're going to get everybody's input on this. A couple of things we'd like to know would be, what other colors does your Merle Dame have? Does your dog have 1 or 2 copies of blue, cocoa, a copy of cream, pied, brindle, those kind of things? Now, you say it's a Merle Dame with tan points. If the tan points are showing that it doesn't have brindle, we know that. And obviously, it's not 2 copies of cream. Is it a blue Merle? Is it a cocoa Merle? New shade Merle? Does it have a fluffy gene? And then the next thing is, what is your goal out of this? What do you want out of this? I mean, one thing that everybody should be answering you is you don't breed a Merle to a Merle. So we know that that's off the table. No Merle males can be bred to this Dame. If you do, you're going to get double Merles, and double Merles can have problems with hearing and eyesight, so you just don't do that. Okay, so it's a blue Merle with tan points. So the next question would be, are there any other colors? It's a fluffy carrier. Okay, so does it carry cocoa? Does it carry either version of chocolate? We'd like to know that too. Does it carry cream? Does it carry pied? Because all of these affect the outcome. Let's say, I mean, the first thing is, I would absolutely be breeding, me personally, I would want to get the most DNA that's going to show up in the puppies. And the answer to that, based on what you've told us so far, would be a fluffy blue and tan. And with that, we know that we're going to get all blue and tan, to which half of them are going to be Merles on average. Now, someone just said I'd mate with a lilac. I don't have any. I mean, sure, absolutely, because then you're going to get, if that dog doesn't carry cocoa, you're going to get cocoa in all the puppies, and you've got the ability to get more things out of the puppies. So this depends on the market, right? I mean, so the more genes that you've got, hidden or otherwise, make it more advantageous to people who want to buy your dogs for breeding purposes. If someone's buying your dog strictly to be a pet, then these other hidden genes are completely irrelevant. So, and then, maybe there's a pied gene that's present. I like pied puppies. If you put a pied carrier with another pied carrier, you're going to get 1/4 pieds. I think that's a win for me, but lots of people don't want pieds. I would avoid brindle like the plague. We know that your dog doesn't have brindle. I would not be breeding to a dog that has any kind of brindle gene at all. So for me, the minimum end of this would be a blue and tan, non-brindle dog, full fluffy, and you're going to get half fluffies and half fluffy carriers. That'd be a starting point. But then if you get a dog that's big rope, if you like it, or a velvet, if you like it, or a pink, if you like it, or a husky or a panda. They're all things that you could consider on this. All right. Let's see what other people say about this. Blah, blah, blah. I'm reading through here to see where we are. Let's have a look here. Adam's here. Party time YouTube. What's the best type of questions to ask a vet to know if they are well equipped to handle Frenchies? We're in San Antonio area. If you know a vet to recommend, I don't know any vets in San Antonio. I do know of vets that are north of Dallas, and that would be Durant Animal Hospital. He probably does 5 Frenchie C-sections a day. He's incredibly low priced, and he's been doing so many of them. I hear good reports from him. But this is what I would do. I think the best answer to this would be to ask other breeders whether they've used this person. Because what's the vet going to say? The vet's going to say, no, I'm shit at doing C-sections. Almost every dog that I do a C-section with dies. You're not going to get that answer back, right? I think that the best thing you can have is to go to somebody, ask somebody like me, who are you using for C-sections in San Antonio? Find breeders in San Antonio. You can and say, just ask somebody that question. What's your experience? And then, ask some questions. Will they take my dog in if I'm not one of their customers? Will they do after hours? What do they charge? Are there emergency fees? I mean, there's a number of aspects to this matter. Fundamentally, the most important one is they've done a lot of small dog C-sections, specifically on French bulldogs, or at least braciocephalic dogs with flat noses. That is the most important thing. They've been doing quite a few of those. They don't want to have done 2 of them. They want to have done 10 of them or 100 of them. And then after that, it's a question about, some vets are very friendly and easy to get along with, and some of them are not so much. But
develop a relationship with your vet.
That's Tami talking there. That's exactly right. I think I said that.
Yep. And sometimes the receptionist there, if she's been working there a long time with that vet, she pretty well knows on how many deliveries he's done, or
you get a straight answer.
Yeah.
If you say, hey, how many deliveries do you do? And say, we do about 3 a week.
Yeah. The receptionist is a good person to ask too.
Yep.
And sometimes they'll give you references. I doubt that because of the phone numbers.
I doubt that too. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that for live.
Small towns would.
But I think the thing, look, here's
hometown.
Here's the problem. If you're asking this question and you're going to have a litter next week, you're late to the game. What Tami said was exactly right. You want to build a relationship with a vet so that you know how they work, you know how easy it is to get in, and you get a general feel for the cleanliness of the place, and how many people in the waiting room, and how the staff is.
You want like plan A, plan B, and plan C, like 2 or 3 vets that you want to develop a relationship with.
So this is much harder if you've only got 1 dog, right? But if you've got, like us, you've got a number of dogs, you've been doing it for a long time, then we've moved to different towns, and but they're all within about a 100-mile radius. So we've got 5 or 6 vets that we could rely on, and we've got one that we use almost exclusively. But I think Tami brings up a good point here. If you call up a place trying to find an emergency vet at 3 o'clock on a Sunday evening, and you've never used,
you're not going to get one.
You're not going to like the results on this. It's not a good day. You're going to be stressed.
Emergency room vet, you would, but you don't know what kind of vet you're going to get. But it's always real wise 2 weeks before her breeding due date that you call around and ask which vets are going to be around after you've already done a review on how many litters they've delivered. You do your homework with the vet that you try to find. And these small town country vets are excellent. Pricing's a lot better than your city vets. City vets charge an arm and a leg. If you have to go get a motel the day before, if you've got, when her breeding due dates are, you've done your progesterone testing, and probably when she's going to be due, and time's getting close, and you've been doing your weekly once a day, temperature check a week before breeding due date. You know, all that plays a part in that. You're going to pretty well know when puppies are going to be due, and go get a motel room if you have to drive 2 or 3 hours to get there. Point.
So,
and then our traveling incubator, here goes our sell pitch. The traveling incubator is excellent to take with you, because when you're traveling back home that far away, it's perfect because you've got that adapter for your
So how far
in
do
the
you
car.
think? How far do you think you could travel? Let's say that you live in New York, in Manhattan Island, and a C-section fee there is going to be $6,000-7,000. That's a real number there, right? By the way, you're in Manhattan Island. How far away would you be prepared to drive to go get yourself a C-section for $1,000? How far would you be prepared?
I'd drive 4 and 6 hours or
more. I would
more.
too. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's.
I would too.
You know, to save that amount of money.
Yeah, right.
And that traveling incubator is excellent for you.
So how long do you think? I mean, let's say that you're prepared to travel as far as it takes. How far could you travel, do you think? You know,
with a traveling incubator?
Yes.
As long as your battery on your car is working, or your electric car.
Let's say you were 24 hours away. Could you do 24 hours?
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to get.
You just plug it into your adapter in your car.
You'd have to stop somewhere and you'd be spending the night somewhere, and you'd let puppies nurse every 4 or 5 hours, or maybe take some bottle with you, right? There's a logistics problem with this, but the first thing is how long would puppies normally be away from mum before they ever get?
A couple of hours.
A couple of hours, exactly. You got at least a couple
of hours
for her to
recuperate. Normally.
Yeah,
get her senses
because they're just
around.
not
anywhere from an hour to 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. For us, it's as long as it takes to get home and then get situated, it's at least an hour, right? So you could definitely travel a few hours. And I mean, back to this emergency room situation. If you've got an emergency room, you have not developed a relationship with an emergency room, because you don't even know who the vet's going to be on call. There's probably 5 of them. You don't know which one it's going to be.
It's probably going to be a vet tech. Not saying vet techs don't know. They do know, but you just don't know who you're going to get.
Right. So John Malloy says, my repo vet measures fetal heart rate over progesterone level. So, I mean, I think this is another of those things where you've got, I would not want to rely strictly on fetal heart rate. I mean, the idea behind fetal heart rate is you detect a puppy that's maybe getting stressed. And we'd rather do the C-section before that happened. I may be talking crap here on this. I don't know that I'm right. But again, I don't like any single answer to this question. I think it's a whole. I mean, how many of these do you think we've been involved in, Tami?
How many what?
Helping people on C-section, Tami.
Oh.
Thousands.
Yeah.
I mean,
literally.
I mean, you might, you probably think we're talking crap. There was a time we were sending out 10 samples a day. And just about every one of those, we were following up on those people because just to make sure they were good on C-section timing. And that was 6 years ago. But I would venture to guess, and this, I'd venture to guess it's probably 10,000, and it may be shy. It's a huge number. So, I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back or make us sound like we're heroes, but we've had a ton of experience. And most vets don't have much
from our mistakes.
Yeah, or customers' mistakes.
You learn from your mistakes, and we've made those mistakes, so we're trying to help you not make those mistakes.
Yes. Anthony Bora, my pup's been constipated, so I've been having to do 2 enemas daily, once in the morning and night per the vet. Could I use mineral oil, James, instead of dish soap? Just been using warm water and Vaseline. So I think
Vaseline. I haven't heard that one.
Well, no, I think that there's 2 ways. If you get constipated, there's 3 things that you can do, and I think it applies to puppies too. There's 3 ways you can attack this. You can attack it with an enema, and that enema needs to be greasy, which means dish soap.
But you have to be careful with doing enemas all the time.
Well, we'll talk about that here in a second.
Okay.
But there's three. So I'm going to name. Can you name another way of tackling it?
With the constipation?
Yeah.
No.
Well, the next one is this side. Get it from the other end. Get some mineral oil or some olive oil into their mouth and help grease up their gut. If they're really impacted, that'll help it too. And the third way is that you can give drugs that will help soften stools like Dulcolax and things like that. You've got to make sure you're using the right stuff for a puppy. I've never given it. I think things with simethicone are good, but again, I don't want to say that's right without you researching it. But the answer is you can give enemas up to 3 times a day. But what Tami said is also true. They can start relying on enemas. So, but if you've got a dog, if you've got a puppy that's 7 days old that's not pooping, you've got an immediate problem. Even if it gets used to having enemas, at least you've got the damn dog crapping. If you don't do that, the dog's going to get in trouble. So you've got to treat this first. And then if you're bottle feeding and you're using mixture with powdered goat's milk, make sure that you're not mixing it up too stout, because you can get a dog that is, it's too nutrient rich. And then if a dog's dehydrated, lift the skin up on its neck and it tenses up and doesn't stay down, then you may have to do things like give a shot of saline solution or lactose ringers in its neck to get the dog hydrated again. That could be a cause of it. All right. Here's an interesting one. We haven't had this one before, but we've experienced it. Everyday Treasure says, I have a dog that was born without a sheath on his penis. Took him to a vet and he checked and made sure he was peeing okay, which I could have told him he does, but he says he's fine. Wouldn't you fix it? So.
Well, what would you do? It doesn't have a sheath on it.
Well, okay. So the first thing that comes to my mind is
it's stuck and it needs to be pulled.
No, that's not what they're saying.
Oh,
that's
okay.
different. The little puppy we had.
Okay.
He would.
Well, yeah.
So we'll talk about that here in a second. That was a little Chihuahua we had, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So he had a problem
Chanel
where he constantly had an erection. He just constantly.
You know those Chihuahuas.
Constant had erection, and we just recently bought that dog from a vet. And it was a problem because he was going to be a stud dog. We ended up taking the dog back, and she ended up doing a penomectomy on that dog and removing his penis. Now, now I get to thinking about this. Let's say you have a dog that doesn't have a sheath on his penis. Hell, half of American men are walking around without a sheath on their penis because they've been circumcised, and they do just fine apparently. So I don't think this is the end of the world. Now, the question then gets to be is...
Well, I figured he'd damage it.
No, I don't think so. I mean, so the next question gets to be, is this a congenital thing? And would you pass it on to the other puppies? I suspect not.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things. Like when human babies are born, there's sometimes some of them's got problems. And
So I would say the first thing to do is to look at the history of this dog. Were there other puppies in the litter that had the same problem? If so, yes. Probably not time to breed this dog again. But if you can go back a couple of generations and there's no history of it, no problem. I would not breed that pairing again in fear that there's some funny recessive gene that's just matching up to produce it.
Somebody said, I'm just fine.
Yeah, exactly. So, So, I mean...
Oh, I see it on the TV that you've got that dance.
Yeah, right.
Good.
Yeah.
Finally.
Right. Yeah. So the answer is I wouldn't fix the dog, but I'd pay attention to what's going on. Natural Line says, my neonatal pups only poop like once a day. If it was 2 or more, then I do enemas. So, I mean, to me, we haven't hardly ever given an enema to a puppy.
No.
Hardly ever. I mean, a couple of things about enemas. They're pretty safe. I don't think there's any great danger here. I think that the things here, if a dog is pooping once a day, the dog's pooping. I mean, how often do you poop in a day?
James.
I poop once a day. Too much information?
Yes.
But if you're pooping once a day, you're not going to get in trouble. That was my point here. So I don't think that I'd get, as long as if a dog's not pooped for a couple of days, that was when I'd get concerned. And then sometimes it's hard to tell because mum's cleaning it up. How do you know that a dog hasn't pooped? It's getting a hard belly because it's not wanting to feed. There would be signs that you've got a problem.
Or see a puppy straining.
Somebody
said, Nacho Line said something, don't forget your folic acid. Yes, definitely. From day one of her being pregnant. Are these old questions or answers?
No. You're getting ahead.
I'm getting ahead. Okay.
You're getting ahead of me by quite a bit. That's right.
Yeah.
Now
that I get to read it and see it.
The folic acid is exactly right? So what Tammy's saying is you should be giving your dogs, pregnant dogs, folic acid the moment that they are bred till they whelp, especially for the first month is the most important, 5 milligrams every day. We do it for human beings, and it helps some of these
After they had babies, don't give it to them anymore.
Right,
So.
but it can help. What's the right word for this? Congenital, well, not development problems, especially in that first 4 months, four weeks of life.
Okay, I see somebody that says the folic acid does the trick. Does work to stop cleft palates. I think it helps.
Yes, doesn't necessarily stop them. But if you had a dog with a cleft palate and you hadn't give folic acid, then you have to think why did you not give folic acid? Yeah. So it's so cheap, it's safe. We do it for humans. Just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Mama's cleaning them before you actually get to see it. That's true. Right. Then you got some mamas that don't clean very good, and you see it.
Let's have a look here. Oh, someone's talking about that breeding, and they were saying kois and pandas would all be choices to breed that dog to. That's exactly right. So that's an interesting thing, because I'm going to bring up another thing here. I heard it is...
Nacho Line said also to help stop issues,
So someone here says... So first
something in the way, and I can't read it.
Can you go get those two puppies? This is a good
right
time
now?
to talk about... No?
What we're talking about. Can't see the bottom.
Yeah, you're getting way ahead of me there.
Yeah, well,
that's all right.
It's because you yak too much.
It's a Q&A session. If I don't,
I know, but
I'm just going to go like this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to answer any more questions.
Yeah, somebody else says that their mama dog does not want to clean the pup poop, but the pee, that's the new mama that we've got going on right now with those little big ropes, velvet big ropes. She's saying why she'd rather clean the pee and not the poop.
She's not perfect on this, is she?
No, she'll probably get better as time goes.
I tell you what, she's a really good mum in every other respect. So I can, but you see their little butts, tails kind of caked up a little bit, right?
Yeah, that's what I was doing, is cleaning them up, because they had mess and she just let them crawl around in it. So I had to clean it.
When's the last time you cleaned their tails, their butts?
Today. Earlier today.
When did you do it? Yesterday?
Yesterday I didn't do it.
I didn't do it yesterday either. So there you go. So it's not like
so she's cleaning it, but it's not perfect.
Right, it's not perfect, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I've got some mama dogs that just clean them, and do great. Yeah, the peanut butter trick did good the first day, because she absolutely refused. I stuck the puppy to her face, and she was like, and so finally I put the peanut butter on there, and boy, she started in on it. In fact, she enjoyed it a little bit too much, that she took a little leg in, and I grabbed that little leg out, going, oops, we're going too crazy with that peanut butter. She thought that stuff was great. But it scared me. First time mama.
I'd rather have my fingers she bit down, not a puppy, right?
Yeah. But she'll do better the next time. She'll be more experienced.
So now we're going to get this conversation, which I think is an interesting conversation. Somebody says, are fluffies pure-bred Frenchies? So this is interesting, because first off, I think the answer on the fluffies is pretty much yes, and there's a couple of reasons for this. The first one is the fluffy gene showed up in Frenchies over 100 years ago, but it was bred out because people didn't think that the fluffy Frenchie was something that they should be producing, because it wasn't part of what you'd expect from a Frenchie. So those puppies, they were basically either culled or not bred back to other dogs, and so the fluffies didn't kind of proliferate, as opposed to now, of course, where we've got a whole lineage of fluffy dogs. There's other ways you could get fluffies into this, right? So people talk about Pekingese and things like this. And so then the next question gets to be, well, look, remember that every single purebred dog that is there available for you and I to enjoy had to come from something else, right? They all came originally from Canine dog, or, a prototype dog 10,000 years ago. So the interesting thing gets to be here is, let's say that you wanted to make a thing. Let's say specifically you're going to produce a velvet big rope, because we've got some of those right now. Mm-hmm. So then the question gets to be is, how the hell did that velvet big rope ever get to the Frenchies? And I can tell you this, by just looking at them, that almost certainly Shar-Peis were introduced into the Frenchie line to produce the velvet big ropes.
But now they're developed to where they've been bred enough that the nose are shorter. In the beginning, they had some long noses like the Shar-Pei. Now they're better quality type French Bulldog look to him now.
So this is the interesting thing. If you took, for instance, let's say you bred your French Bulldog to a Shar Pei, and you produced a dog that is kind of a mix between the two, and you then took that dog and you bred it back to a French Bulldog, and the offspring from that you took and bred back to a French Bulldog. How many generations would it take before you got to only 1% of the original Shar Pei to be in the genetics? And the answer to that is 6 to 7 generations later. Because every generation you halve the amount of genetics there. So the first one's a half, next one's a quarter, next one's an eighth, next one's a 60th, next one's a 32, and a 64th, and a 128th. You've got less than 1% on the 7th generation, and you've got 1.5% on the 6th generation. So at that point, it then becomes a French Bulldog. So now there's some questions about how the hell these people managed to get AKC paperwork back then. Our litter that we have right now, it's a litter of 4, and there's one in it that looks like mum is definitely a velvet big robe, and there's one female puppy in there that is definitely
just like her,
a velvet big robe,
just like her, better DNA.
Yes,
because she carries testable and
she carries pink. This one does.
Fluffy carrier. No,
but that dog, if you did an embark test on that dog, I think it would come back French Bulldog or almost exclusively French Bulldog. I don't believe that it would show up to being anything, Shar Pei, whatever else. So, but remember, most of these new things, like pandas, huskies, how they're getting in there because they bred to some other breed and then basically kept on breeding back to French Bulldogs to get rid of the original pairing that produced this particular trait they're looking for. So, look, there's lots of people that say, I don't want any part of that. And I completely understand how they might feel that way.
So somebody was saying, do we use Oxymama? We have used Oxymama. I think we sell it as well.
I think Cody might.
My Breeder Supply, we have Oxymama. Oxymama is good to do that, but the folic acid is very important.
Do you know how much? Folic acid there is in Oxymama?
No.
800 micrograms, which is 0.8 of a gram, and you should be giving 5. So it's getting about 1/8 of what you should be giving.
So don't do both.
No, then. I would absolutely be doing both. I would completely ignore. If you gave Oxymama, what I would do is this: I'd give a decent multivitamin and folic acid.
Yeah, but would you do Oxymama and folic acid since it's got the 8?
You go from 5 grams to 5.8 grams. Who cares?
So she'll be getting 10.
No. 0.8 of a gram from the Oxymama and 5 from the tablet. So she's getting 5.8. How much difference is 5.8 from 5? Not very much.
Okay, if you're giving Oxymama and it has 8 in it.
No, it's 0.8.
0.8.
800 micrograms.
Oh, okay.
That's the point.
Okay.
It says 800 micrograms. You think, it's getting a crap load. It's only getting 0.8 of a gram.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, so do both. It's very important they get that. So.
Excuse me, a milligram, 800 milligrams versus 5 grams.
Thank you, Nacho Line. That's great. Do we have some thumbs up? Let's get some thumbs up. Pretty please.
Nacho, get on them now. Get on them, Nacho Line.
We've missed you the last couple of times not getting on to people for no thumbs up.
So we need to start running through these. Anthony asks, is it normal for a neonatal puppy to poop every other day? What would be the main cause of that? I think should they poop after every single feeding? Is this a common experience? I think it varies by dogs. I think as long as the dog's pooping and it's putting on weight and it's not in any distress, you're off the races and I wouldn't get too worried about it. I mean, that's the big thing is this. Is the dog gaining half an ounce a day or more? If it is, happy dog, doesn't have a hard belly, whatever you're doing is okay, and I wouldn't start mucking around with stuff personally.
Mm-hmm. So somebody wanted to know what, been doing puppies for 4 years, how long would you keep puppies before discounting the prices on today's market? By the time they're 10 weeks old, let's see, if you still have puppies at home at 12 weeks, I'd start reducing price too. Depends on you, on what you need to get done and moved. If you've got other litters, so it's up to you when you think you need to start dropping prices.
Anthony says, my C-section was 1,700. I'm going on down here. Miniature Schnauzer says pet ERs are a rip-off. I don't know if they're a rip-off, but I mean, they're not desirable in our opinion. If you aren't noticing poop, that's a good that your mum is. So if you aren't noticing poop, we're talking about this not pooping very often. If you're not noticing poop, mum's probably cleaning it up. Kenneth says he got his done in Hera, Oklahoma for $800 at 9 p.m. There you go. That's Oklahoma for you, though. That's Hera is not a very big place, and so typically you get a lot more attractive prices in those places. When we used to go to Texas, and it was like it started off being $250 for a C-section. They got to learn how much
man and wife team.
Two vets
for that price.
But they got to learn what our puppies are selling for, and all of a sudden prices started going up.
I don't blame them. That's work.
Yeah. Right.
It's the ones that are getting $6,000 and $8,000 for C-sections that drives me crazy.
So Mitch now says Cairo syrup for constipation. I mean,
I forgot about that. That's awful sweet.
I question that. I think that might make
honey's also too sweet as well.
Yes.
Especially if they got diarrhea problems.
Yes.
That would be.
So Anthony says
they're saying honey's not good for but human babies until they're a certain age. So that might not be so good for your puppies.
Yep. Right. Let's have a look here. See, Tasha says, "Bless us." We appreciate that.
Thank you.
Danny says they're gaining weight every day, and you're weighing them, but you don't have any big problems here. So again, don't. I'm rushing through these. We've got so many questions to catch up with. Fashionable Monsters, by the way, the folic acid tree does work to stop cleft palates. Well, I mean, I'd say this to you, Fashionable Mom, how do you know? I mean, we give it, right? How do you know? I mean, the reason that you know that probably it works is because we give it to humans these days, that there is a lot more evidence that can be, worked out in terms of, what really works. And we do give it to humans. So presumably it works for dogs. Can't do it. So Papatrell says a bowel movement is very important, at least once a day or more. I mean, sure. But again, I go back to the same thing. If the dog's a happy dog and it's gaining weight and it doesn't have a hard belly, it's probably okay. And yeah, go ahead.
Well, that person said instead of honey, use pure pumpkin. Yeah, pumpkin works too. I'd said pumpkin earlier when James was talking.
Yeah, I think of that more as a thing to help diarrhea as opposed to
pumpkin. Yeah, that's true. But diarrhea.
But it's interesting because if you look at medicines for humans, some medicines work for both diarrhea and constipation because they put fiber in.
Somebody said I had a Frenchie that always had 2 pups every litter with cleft palates, and then I started the folic acid, 2 full litters, no issues.
Okay.
So there you go.
There you go. Yes.
That's real interesting.
So Natural Line agrees 5 milligrams folic acid to help develop. Yep, right.
Natural Line said honey's for the mom dogs. Okay.
Natural Line says my mama did not want to clean the puppy poop, but the pee she can do. Lucky I had a box of wipes. There you go. Wipes work. Yep.
Yes, the answer for the fluffy carrier to full fluffy. Yeah, a fluffy carrier. Am I reading that right? A non-fluffy carrier. Okay. Fawn Frenchie non-fluffy carrier to a full fluffy. Yes, all your puppies will be fluffy carriers.
Do you recommend C-sections or naturals, CJ, for dogs?
Oh, well, they say pumpkin's good for both constipation and diarrhea.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. Do you always recommend C-sections or natural? C-section always for Frenchies. I wouldn't go any other way, especially for us. $800 for a C-section, it's not worth risking this. It's not worth risking it. So if you elect to have natural, you better have an X-ray done beforehand to make sure you know how many puppies are in there and how big they are. And you better have a vet on standby and be prepared that probably 15 to 20% of the time you're going to get a stuck puppy and you've got to suffer the consequences of that. Doesn't mean they'll necessarily die, but you're going to have an emergency C-section anyway.
Colleen said her English Springer Spaniel had 13 healthy puppies. Mom's doing great, and so are the puppies. Good job.
Fashion Forward Mom says Breeder's Edge was a waste of money for me. Maybe it works for you. So here's the problem with this. How do you know? This is the problem with all these vitamins and all this stuff. I think most of it's snake oil, probably. I think that most of the things that we humans take, and I mean, there's some evidence behind this, is not even absorbed, and it probably is not very effective. It's not necessarily harmful unless you take a ridiculous amount. But the problem with this is, how do you know? It's very hard to do any kind of clinical study that's meaningful to tell you whether this stuff works. And of course, the people who are selling this stuff, they tell you that it works beautifully. I mean, you see all this stuff on TV now for what is it, farmers? You know, you see the old couple up there hawking their vitamin products.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, how would they know this works? Anyway.
Right.
Can full fluffy Frenchies come out with tails? FTC Coup asked that. The answer is any Frenchie can come out with long tails. And why is that?
European. Oh, yeah.
Because they're
used to. They had tails a long time ago.
Or more tail they have now, right? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So somebody in the lineage has got some tails. So an example. So the answer is yes. They can't. It's not desirable. And I mean, I've seen litters where every single puppy, not only that we've produced, thank God, but and not only that we've produced from our dogs either, but I've seen dogs come out with that much tail, French Bulldog with that much tail on every single puppy. That's not. Some people think it's cute, but I can tell you this: the majority of people are not going to accept that as being what they want to see.
Yeah. Yoke wants to know if you puppy contract and stud contract that you can offer to use. Okay. Use as a template.
Natural Light makes an interesting comment. Says, I said I recommend for all prenatals unless you're
you
feeding.
Didn't hear me and you didn't answer.
Sorry, what?
Right up there, the very top.
Do you have any puppy contract and stud contract that you could offer to use? Yes, we do. So I'll get to that here in a second. I'll talk to that specifically. Natural Light makes a good comment here about he feeds a raw diet and feels like he's got plenty of vitamins and things in the raw diet. Okay. And that, again, so the problem gets to be is, how do you know? It's like if you feed a commercial quality kibble, presumably they're putting in all the vitamins they should. And if you're feeding a raw diet, then I don't know how you track whether you've got the right vitamins. I'm not saying that you're not right, Nacho. I'm just saying, how would you know? And so I think the answer is I would always give folic acid just to be on the safe side.
We do not do the back dew claws on our Frenchies.
They don't have any.
Yeah, they don't have any. Your front dew claws is what we remove, and that's what we send off to DNA. So when the puppies are about 4 or 5 days old and everybody's good and healthy, that's when we take the dew claws off and we send that off to get the DNA done. And then we have our DNA back within 5 days after we send it off.
And it doesn't.
5 to 7
it's
days.
So easy to do, and it does. The puppies don't. I've never had a problem doing it. It's so quick to do. The puppies don't hardly.
Very little bleeding,
So on that long tail thing, Paper Trail says, my litter of full fluffy carriers all came out with corkscrew tails. Some are shorter, some longer. So there's a separate thing on a corkscrew. You do see that in Frenchies, and you've got people who don't like that. I don't get personally too worried about it. What I don't want to see is a big tail. I want to see a tail that just covers up their butt, right? I mean, it's about, in a little puppy, it's not much of a tail at all. But sometimes it'll move off to the side. And
where their little hiney hoe is, it's nice to have it just straight on there. But I mean, every dog's not perfect. It's going to be different with every puppy.
That's a good point. I mean, for me, if I was evaluating dogs and I was ruling out a dog that I didn't want to have, it would not be because of a screw tail. There'd be other things I would think would be a lot more important. Long back, long legs, all of these whacking great big ears. And these things would be a lot more consideration. But you'd like it not to have a screw tail, but I don't think. I've heard some people say if he's got a screw tail, it's got a messed up spine. I think that's probably baloney. I don't believe a word of that.
Nacho Line's talking about, look what he's up there, read it. You won't find it on there because you're behind.
Well, yeah, but let me get to him. So I've got all these. God,
okay. Yeah, I know. It's good. Let's get those some more. The thumbs ups are nice, but we could use a little bit more.
Now I've lost. No, darn it! I've lost where I was.
Sorry.
It's all right. I'll get there. How did I manage to do that? Sorry, I've got to. Now I've lost all the questions.
No, on weaning puppies, I wait till they're about 4.5 weeks for the mush. 3 weeks, they just getting their teeth. So unless you got a mama that's not being very nice to them or something happens, you can start in at 3 weeks. But make it real thin, like looser than gravy. so they can lap it up, and it'll take them a little bit.
I've lost all the questions. I never messed around with it.
Huh? Nacho says, I vote Tami reads and James answers. It worked last time.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to answer these questions while I try and get this back because I've lost all.
Oh no, James lost everything.
Yep.
I just ordered my small breed essentials and heating
Sorry,
whelping
folks.
kit.
It's going to take me a little bit to get this sorted out.
Good. You're being prepared. We're having a sale. My Breeder Supply is having a sale. 15% off of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that means feeding tubes. That means everything. The heated whelping system, the traveling incubator, all those products that are on there, they're on sale, 15% off, and half price on our stud fees. And if you don't need the stud fee right now, grab it anyway and save it for later. Half off on the stud fees, but 15% off on all the products on My Breeder Supply. So, boy, if you want a heated whelping system, is the incubator, the oxygen thing?
Yeah.
It's on sale too?
Everything should be 50.
Okay,
if it's in
what
stock,
about,
it's 15% off.
What about
But
the
you
progesterone
can't
machine?
okay. I'm working like crazy to try and bring this back to me.
Well, everything's right there if you.
Yeah, but that's only the last few questions. They've got a lot more in there. You keep answering questions. You're doing great.
We're getting people helping us with the more likes.
Good.
Nacho Line says he does 3.5 to 4 weeks on weaning puppies. Yeah. It's James, to answer earlier questions, I have 80, 90 litters a year. Wow.
That's a lot of litters.
That's fashion forward, yes. Mom. Woo! Wow, 80 to 90 litters a year. Surely you have help. Oh, my one-stop shop, My Breeder Supplies. Thank you. Yes, it is. We try to be. Everything we could think of that's on there that helps people out. Those puppy care kits, fantastic stuff. My best female stays problems is shedding overnight. What?
I can't get to any of the questions.
Uh-oh. Sorry.
You've got to keep on going. Keep on going.
Yeah. Now she has. Well, go ahead and start answering it off of here.
Well, now you keep answering those. Let me
Ooh, you might go check to see. What is it? My best female stays with problems. Wait. Now she has hacking coughing problem. Ooh, like kennel cough. I pray it's not. Yeah, that sounds. I had to make sure I was reading that right. Kennel cough. You may need to check that out with the vet. I don't know what is to do with that one. I do have. Oh, she says she does have a crew. That's good. Good. When we were at home and had all those stud boys and then puppies, we had like 4 people on call all the time. My pups are 7 weeks. Goat milk with kibble, but they're only drinking the milk. Oh, well, are you not? They're 7 weeks old and they're only drinking the milk. Mash up, I guess, the kibble a little bit and see if they'll go ahead and eat it. But 7 weeks old, they should be just starting to eat it when it's almost hard. Cause this contagious, I know. Yeah. Yeah, kennel cough is contagious. Children's Tylenol for the coughing. Make sure you read, Google how much children's Tylenol to give on weight. Back. Good. And then again, 2/3 dogs, as long as pups don't get it. Yeah.
Okay, I got the questions back. Sorry about that, folks. I had a panic there.
Call us if your goal is to have Frenchies. I've got babies right now. In fact, I'm fixing to go get my baby since James got his questions back.
Yes.
Yes. Let me tell you that when you're soaking your kibble, this woman said, let the milk soak into the kibble and make it kind of soggy and blend it together. It will soak faster with hot water. And then once it soaks up all that water, take that goat's milk, not regular milk, goat's milk, pour it on top of that, and then smash it all up together, and it'll taste better for the puppies. They'll like it a lot better. But yeah, it'll soak faster with the hot water than it does the milk. The goat's milk, it takes forever to soak up and get soft. So do it first with the hot water and then add the milk after it soaks it up.
So, truck phone, you answer this question about.
I have fluffies. Give me a call. ASAP. 580-799-1910. If your goal is to have fluffy puppies, give me a shout. I have an answer for you.
So there's a couple of people asked about marketing and prices, and there's a couple of things I'd say on this. One is that if you're having problems, you should go to breeder101.com and look at our it does cost a bit of money, not a lot. Our streaming video course on marketing puppies will help you a lot. So, I see lots of people who they're not doing it right. And how do you do it right? The answer is there's quite a bit to it, but it's good pictures, good videos in a timely manner, in the right environment. Good contracts. These are all part of it. And that's
start early.
Yes, and that's what that course is about.
You bring them home.
If you start advertising puppies when they're 8 weeks old and you've got crappy pictures, you're going to be in trouble. Go advertise in the right place.
Go get the puppies.
Go get the puppies. Yes, right.
Now these are the fluffy carriers. The full fluffies we have.
Yes.
Puppies.
So somebody
call
else,
me on that.
Peter Trell says here, Paper Trell says here, I've one left out of 8, it's going for 1,500. Sure. I mean, when you get down to the end of this, there gets to be a point where, this is another thing about marketing puppies. The closer they get to the point they've got to leave at 10 weeks, the less marketable they are, because people want puppies. They don't want 50-week, they don't want 5-month-old puppies. Unless they're a breeder, they don't want those puppies. They want to have cute little puppies they can raise and acclimate in their house. Got to get started early with the right stuff. And if you're in trouble on this, breeder101.com is the place to go look at our courses. And I think they come with a money-back guarantee. I would of course I don't recommend it. I put them together. But it's all stuff that I didn't put on YouTube. It's all about what we do. Something else, that one. I didn't give folic acid to my pregnant mum. My pups are constipated. I don't think that's got anything to do with them. I don't think the folic acid is going to cause anything to do with constipation at all. I give pumpkin seeds. Is that good for deworming? Well, I mean, I would go use the classic dewormers. That would be Brantopeyamate for puppies that are less than 6 weeks old, and Bendabendazole Safeguard for puppies that are over 6 weeks, and all adults Safeguard. I wouldn't muck around with anything else because it's proven. They know it works. And I mean, other things, I just don't think they're going to be as effective. But I'm not a holistic medicine person at all. I mean, All right, so Tammy's now going to show you some puppies. And I want to talk a little bit about the difference in these two puppies.
Isn't he pretty? He is a tweed merle, and he carries pink. He's a fluffy carrier, and he's a big rope. Nope, you can't.
Okay. But let's talk about the parents, what's going on here. Look at the difference in these puppies. Can you tell the difference?
Now she is a velvet. The velvet big rope. Look at that.
So talk about velvet. I mean, you can see the
pretty. Look at her nares. She's got nice open nares.
Yeah, but I want you to talk specifically about two things here: big rope and velvet, because that's what so these came from the same litter. Mum was a big rope velvet. Dad is an Isabella Harlequin, not a big rope.
Look at all that skin.
So the interesting thing here is you can't tell it probably there, but there is a huge difference in the fur on these two dogs. This dog is a short napped, thick fur, and that is a velvet. It's very, very different than this dog that it's a fluffy carrier, but it's not a fluffy.
Yeah.
Very, very, very different.
Real thick coat. Here, raise it up. You can't see it. Thick coat. Raise him up. There you go. Thick coat. Real thick coat.
Well, when you say thick, I mean, I think this is a thick. It feels like velvet, doesn't it?
Yeah, hers is shorter, and it's just
close to napped.
Yeah,
like a velvet. It looks like velvet.
This is nice and soft.
Now I want to take this puppy away for a second. Now look at the face on this. You see
you
see all these wrinkles. Look at all these wrinkles here.
Yeah.
Look at this. All of this. This is part of this big rope look, where you get these, and you see it on the face. You see all the wrinkles in the face. It's this very predominant rope, very, very different. Came from the same mum. So this is interesting because it means that the big rope gene is not. It's not a recessive gene.
Okay.
You can have one copy in a dog. This dog only has one copy of that. And yet is expressing it big time. Versus this dog didn't get that copy and didn't. And it's And the same thing with velvet.
She didn't get the velvet,
Didn't get the velvet. One copy got it done. One copy got it done.
But this is a girl. Isn't she gorgeous? Her name is Darla. And this is
Spanky.
Spanky. From the Little Rascals.
Spanky, I think, is spoken for. Spoken for.
Yeah.
But again, interesting on these.
Yeah.
So we do
Beautiful
have
babies.
We do have a big rope stud, by the way. His name is.
And they're short-tailed.
What is his name, Tami? Phantom.
No.
Yeah, Phantom.
The stud to these? No. Oh, no.
We have a big rope.
Yeah.
Right.
The daddy to these babies is Casson, our new stud that we have.
Right.
And Mama is a product of her mom. Their granddaddy is Stranger Things, and Stranger Things is from Yoda, that line down that way, and then also Love My Denali's behind her on Mama's side, and then behind Denali, Love My Denali is Bad Action. And then on Daddy's side is Casson, is the daddy to these babies. Our new shade, Isabella, full fluffy Harlequin tweed Merle that carries pink. And these babies, no brindle, no pied. And daddy to Casson is, Husky Supreme. So the pedigree behind these babies just stand. And then you've got the structure of these babies. They're just beautiful. So, girl, boy.
Okay, so we're going to try and answer the rest of these questions because we're out of time here. Okay. Puppy contracts. If you go to, I think it's might be on Love My Pups. It's certainly on breeder101.com. There's a place in there where you can see. You have to go give us your email because we want to market you, right? It's the way this works. But if you then get a PDF that is a contract for puppy contract and a stud contract that you can then modify and put your own names in there. It's the one that we use, but you can modify and change it as you want. So they're there for free. You're just going to ask for your email. We don't sell your email to anybody else, but we will, maybe once a month we might sell you an email about products or things that are going on. We're not going to hammer you on this stuff. All right. So do you start weaning after 3 weeks for mush? No, 4 weeks typically. You want to have teeth, and you want them to. 4 weeks for us. I mean, if you had a mama that has got lousy milk, or she's not being nice to her babies, or she's hammered and looks like hell, or a very large litter, you might try it at 3 weeks, but you probably going to be supplementing with some milk at that point.
Where's the other two babies? The little female, I didn't say she carried testicle. That little female that I had a while ago is a lilac and tan, carrying testicle and fluffy, and she's a velvet big rope. Here are the other two brothers, and this guy has pink as well, like the Harlequin Tweed Merle boy is pink. This little boy carries pink, carries testicle, carries cocoa, and he's blue, and he is a fluffy carrier.
So,
and this is a blue and tan carrying fluffy. He didn't get
puppies.
Yeah.
Paper Trail says one-stop shop, My Breeder Supply. Thank you. I think I would say this about My Breeder Supply. All the things that are on there are things that we use on a daily basis. If we don't use it, we don't sell it. And a lot of that stuff we've developed ourselves. It's unique to us. Things like our incubator, our heated whelping kit, and our poop trays. They're all things that we physically make. They're things that are our design, and we've done that because we had a problem using other products or a problem to fix. So My Pups, CJ Project says, My Pups are 7 weeks old. I'm mixing goat milk with kibble, but they're only drinking the milk. I don't know what you're doing with that kibble, but maybe you want to start off by putting it into a mixer, a blender, and blend the crap out of it, make a slurry out of it. Make it watery as it needs to be to get and start, basically playing around in it and sucking it up. And you can start thickening it up as the days go on. But at 7 weeks, they should be. Our dogs at 7 weeks are on just straight kibble at that point.
And another reminder too is you definitely have to leave water out 24/7 for any dog, any puppies. After they're walking around and everything, even when they're in there with mama at 3 weeks, they're starting to lap into the water bowl.
Yep.
if it's low enough, and you keep it low enough for them in a low, shallow water bowls, and not very much water. They'll lap it up.
Yep.
But when they get older, they have to have water. Puppies have to have water 24/7.
Absolutely. Yep.
Some people just don't know, but
Natural Line says my best female stage of the problem is shedding overnight, UTIs. Now she has like a hacking cough. I think it's kennel cough. It could well be. Somebody else, I think Fast Forward Mum says, talked about Tylenol. I would be very scared about giving Tylenol to puppies. So if you're going to do that, you need to go check that, because I thought that was a no-no, but I might be wrong. Chilled Tylenol, let's see. That makes my dogs have fluffies getting the baby from Tami. So Natural Line says I always add warm water to my dog's kibble. I did see some things about people doing that just for adult dogs, so it helps make it more enjoyable and get more of the aroma going on. I think that makes complete sense. I think that sounds like a great idea.
But on puppies,
well, even on dogs, yeah. Right.
Yeah, I mean, so you put chicken broth on there if you want.
What size
or
syringes
beef broth
you use for your deworming? I use a 13cc syringe. I load the whole thing up, and then I go around to each puppy out of the same syringe and give them each one what they need, and I can do it very quickly. Typically, it's 1cc for every 5 pounds. So if you've got a 5-pound puppy, gets 1cc. If you've got 5 puppies, then you need 5 cc's total. And
with what?
Safeguard.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So Nemex 2, how do you do that?
Same thing.
Same thing. So say that again, slowly.
I use a large syringe, suck up a lot more.
Okay, I know, but how many ounces per pound?
It's 1cc for every 5 pounds.
cc's.
1 mil for every 5 pounds.
1 cc's
every 5 pounds.
For every 5 pounds.
So,
and James has some videos on this stuff too.
Absolutely.
So
FTCQ says I use a baby bottle warmer to warm the goat's milk. Sure, there's nothing wrong with that.
Microwave does real good.
That's right. I blasted a microwave for about 8 seconds, depending on how much.
But always test it. Test it on your wrist like you would a baby's bottle. Test it on your wrist to make sure it's not too warm.
So Fast Forward Mum makes a good comment here. I keep Mum with babies at 4 weeks. I lower her food. So that's another thing, is that you can start drying her up by giving her less calories. So you want to do that because you don't want to get mastitis, and you do want to do a transition.
But once puppies start eating, they don't nurse as much. Now in the beginning, they'll still nurse a lot. But later on, when they start eating more and more, they're fuller and they don't need to nurse. So
Miniature Schnauzers, any folic acid brand that you guys recommend? No, I think they're all the same. I don't think there's any difference here.
And we sell it. Remember, we're having 15% off of everything on My Breeder Supply. And that stud fee's half off. Even if you don't need it right now, grab it now.
Nisi B says, I want to thank you for having this channel. My male Pomeranian got to my female. I had no clue till about 2 days before. Oops. I wake up to her giving 4 pups. This channel has been a lifesaver. Great. We're glad we could help. Neonatal pups can drink water, ? I'm not sure what you mean by neonatal, but they're not going to start getting into mum's water bowl until they're probably
3.5 weeks. Yeah,
you'll see them getting into. Be careful. You mentioned about not making too much water.
Yeah, make sure you have shallow water bowls and that they're heavy, that they don't flip over. I go to PetSmart is where I picked up my big heavy bowls. Tractor Supply used to sell them. I don't think they sell them anymore, or Atwood's. But they're a heavy ceramic bowl, real heavy, so they can't turn it over when they step up over on it. But keep it shallow. You know, you may have to fill it up more.
What? So tell us why you keep it shallow.
More often, but because a puppy can fall in it and drown.
That's right. Or it can get tipped over and a puppy can get wet and cold and die.
And suck in all that water.
Yep, exactly.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
So I think we've run out of time here because we've gone way long on this.
Phone number to call me about our puppies that I just showed, and then our other puppies that are full fluffies. Please call me 580-799-1910. That number is 580-799-1910. Be glad to visit with you on this. I'll FaceTime, and I can also FaceTime those full fluffies too, if you're wanting to get started in the full fluffies.
And I think the full fluffies are now 7 weeks old, and
Cody's are, I think they're like 8.5 weeks, almost 9 weeks old.
The full fluffies is one.
And they carry pink. Cody's does.
2 girls and 1 boy left in that litter.
In which litter?
the full fluffies. They're about 7 weeks old.
Okay.
Just over here.
And they don't carry pink. They're from Mando's babies.
Yeah, these ones here are only like 10 days old, and the boy is gone. So there is one girl and 2 boys still available.
3 people on the line for the female that have called and asked.
Yes, right. So
not holding anything.
But you know how this works. Nothing counts as being adopted until a deposit's put down. Remember that.
Right.
Signed contract and a deposit. That's what makes that puppy somebody's. We don't do anything until that commitment has been made. It sounds rough, but it's just the way that you should be doing it.
And Cody's puppies are the full fluffy Harlequin Tweed Merles. Some of them are New Shade Isabellas. 2 of them that I know of, and a lilac and tan that carry pink full fluffies. So they're beautiful babies. And so call me. I can get you to that number, or here's the number and you can write it down. 806-664-0173 is his number. And I think they're close to 9 weeks old. And then the other litter is 7 weeks. And then this baby litter that I have, it's 10 weeks.
Yep. And our phone numbers are on the side all over the place. Call you, Tammy, and me about any of this. At that point there, we're going to say goodbye to everybody. Thanks for watching. See you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.